We're walking around. We just would walk for 3.5 hours with no real purpose. Thinking like maybe we're going to just like bump in. I don't know what our plan. We had no plan. I don't know what we were doing. And then we'd always end up like they had Johnny Rockets at Sunset Place. And that we were just like, it was like our debrief of failure because we had no success.
You are my fire, the one
podcast, MF podcast. Welcome everybody.
Desire. I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a chicken wing.
Welcome everybody to the MF podcast. I'm your host, Jared Seck. Laurence here with the infamous
Kosmo, also your host.
And
Albert Destrade. Not a host.
But a very important guest, because on this episode, what I would love to do is really get into the inner circle and mind of Albert Destrade and realize how did you get into this whole crazy world of us being, dating coaches, life coaches? I actually like your word for it, empowerment coaches. How did this kind of start for you? Because on a previous episode, we talked a lot about Kosmo, and I know your story obviously, but I think we should do one on you, and people should know how you came up with all this.
So in West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playgrounds where I spent most of my days.
No, chilling and relaxing.
Relaxing and cool. No.
Holding a singing episode.
We'll bring it back. It all started when I was 5 years old. And this is a real story. I was in kindergarten, and there's a girl named Shane in my class. And I vaguely remember having a crush on her. And we were in recess, and I picked her a daisy, I believe, or a small flower. And I see this like the beginning Kosmo of like a movie where it's like hazy. And I remember giving her the flower. She threw it on the ground, stepped on it, and then ran away because she was 5 years old. And then I didn't talk to a girl for 15 years after that. I couldn't have a conversation with a girl for almost 15 years after that.
Sometimes when you talk, I don't know if you're fucking around or if you're serious. Because your sarcasm you're very dry with your sarcasm. Did that happen for real?
It's a real story. So I literally was
that's your trauma.
That was like one of my first early memories.
And you remember that?
Yeah, that's it's burned in my brain. That's like one of my earliest life memories is like handing a girl, like having a crush on a girl, being at recess, handing her like a small, like a little daisy thing, her literally stepping on it like this, like doing like a bug, and then running, little kids, she's like ran away. And then I was just like...
You're like, nice guys do finish.
I am so curious. Were you able to stay in contact with her through middle school or high school?
No.
Do you know her any way you can get her name at all?
But if anyone out there can find her... and
For like years, I was like Shane, but then I was like, it's such a weird name. But I remember that name, like Shane was like her name.
But you thought about this before, right? Really seeing if you can ever see her before?
I never thought of tracking her.
Not getting a private detective,
never thought
looking her down.
That. That's a really cool idea to like look her up.
Give her a flower.
That'd be a really cool idea. But yeah, so like throughout my youth, in like middle school, high school, like I was not outgoing at all. I was like the sweet guy, like the nice guy, the kind of like I prided myself on like being intelligent, right? And then I balanced that with, I love baseball. My whole life was like playing baseball. But even though Jared always like, you're a jock. I was like, I wasn't, even though I played sports, I wasn't like a jock. I wasn't like a bro's bro. I wasn't like everything that I do now.
But you weren't in the popular kids table in high school at all?
No.
Really?
And I didn't do the athlete things. I wasn't like playfully breaking, like I wasn't busting people's chops or like using humor. Humor, like for me, came really late in life. Like even when I was on, on television and shit in the show, I was on the show Survivor. I wasn't funny at all. Like when I got casted on Survivor, I was 26. And like looking back, I'm like, Jesus, like I really, like a lot of things for me came late in life. And it's, we talked about it in a previous episode. Sometimes it's frustrating for me because
swimming.
Other than the people that really know me, they just assume that like, oh, you were clearly like this always. And it's like so frustrating for me because I spent years like developing all these different parts of like the person I am
That's
now.
just a mindfuck for me though, because I'm thinking of you like, all right, here's a tall, good-looking guy. He's in shape, right? You're in the sports team. You're playing baseball. Do you play any other sports in high school?
No, just baseball.
So you're on the baseball team. Like, I feel like most people watching this are like, that's a golden ticket. You can't be tall, dark, handsome, athletic, and bad with women. Like that's just such a mind fuck, you know? Like,
Yeah, tell me about it.
You're like, what the hell?
My best friends growing up, you know them, John Partridge, Andy Nunez. They all would make fun of me because what I was known for, what I was like, my thing was, they're like, do the Albert. They literally call it the Albert, which means like getting in front of a girl and trying to formulate a sentence and not being able to come up with words.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
Like literally they would like mock me because I would do the, like I couldn't say things. And I had one friend, Andy Nunez, who was our hero of the group. So my average Friday and Saturday night in high school was Andy's dad would drop us off at Sunset Place in Miami. It's a mall.
I know exactly where that is. Yeah.
And he would literally drop us off at 7:00 and we would walk around the mall for 3.5 hours. And then occasionally, Andy was the only guy who would occasionally like say a sentence to a girl. And then me and John had no skills. And then we'd be like, dude, Andy's the sickest. And our friend Andy was a wild card. He's like one of those guys that just like shock and awe.
Yeah, he's got a little screw loose.
He reminds me of this guy that we call Dragon that we know. He had a lot of that in him. But he was talking to girls. So we were like, Andy's the best. But we had no results. We never like did anything. We never like, no one ever hooked up with a girl. Like, I had one of my
Did you ever approach them or never? Just
literally 0 times. Literally 0.
So when was your first approach? Was this way later?
Definitely like into like early college. I never drank in high school. I was I graduated a virgin.
Same.
High school?
Yeah.
Same.
I never had one single drink. I didn't lose my virginity till 2 months shy of my 19th birthday, and it was all by like kind of luck. My freshman year of college, we were forced at Lynn University in Boca Raton, included in tuition, every freshman in the university got to go on a 1-week cruise, and we got 2 college credits for it. So all the freshmen in the college went on this cruise for 1 week. It was called Academic Adventure. And literally, it was the first time I ever drank on that cruise, first time I ever gambled, first time I had sex on that cruise.
What university is what the fuck?
Literally, it was included in tuition.
An academic adventure.
Yeah, it's called the Academic Adventure. So but bringing it back, I had no success at all. Everything that happened was like super kind of by chance, like kind of like, I did have a girlfriend, but we never did anything. We never like did anything beyond kissing, like nothing, like literally. And like, it was just, dude, I had no.
So what made this one different? What made you like turn on and be like, all right, I'm going to escalate and make this work?
I didn't escalate, make it work. I was a dork. I was the back-to-back sophomore and junior English student of the year. I was number 1 in the class, and she was like kind of like a girl that she was a very intelligent girl. So we connected on just being like, like speaking well and like dorky like grammar shit.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't like there was nothing to it. Like there was nothing about it that was like, and it's a very small school. So my graduating class was only 100 students, which helped me too. Because when you don't have a lot of social skills and you go to a very small school, it's a lot more. It's easier to have relationships, right? Because it's not like there's 5,000 students in your class.
That's a problem with online dating. Too much.
Right.
Options, and that's a whole other topic.
So, yeah. But and then I didn't really go out or do anything. I actually made fun of the kids that drank in high school. I grew up very religious, and I thought that like me and my like small group of dorkier friends thought that like, oh, look at these like cool kids out like drinking. Like that drinking is like they're so stupid. Like I thought that like the people that were partying and drinking and like having sex and doing drugs in high school, I thought they were like stupid. I was like,
were you aware at the time that you were a dork? Or did you think that they were the dorks for doing that?
I thought they were the dorks.
Right. Makes
I thought
sense.
that they were like,
why would you do that to your body? Like, why are you trying to do that?
Right. I'm like, drinking and stuff is not cool. Like, I'm baseball. I'm like, I'm here to like get good grades, play baseball. I want to make it to the major leagues. I was very like motivated on sports.
Like Captain America, like a poster shot. You're like the all-American home, good boy.
I never had a job till after I graduated high school. My grandfather was like, your job is to go to school and play baseball. And I'm like, 100%. Like that was my whole thing. Like I was like big into that. And then when I got into college, playing college baseball, that was a complete like paradigm shift. Like
how so?
Oh, because I went from a small Christian high school in Miami to a college baseball team, which is like a college baseball team is like a frat on steroids. Like it's like everybody's like all the guys on the team were like having sex with all these girls. They have a girlfriend back home. They're hooking up with girls there. They're all drinking. It's like that bro culture. And I like my freshman year of college, I did not fit in with my college baseball team. Like I was not friends with.
It hard for you because you love, like in a previous episode you talked about being like the ultimate people pleaser. Did you have that element to you back then, or
not really, man? I was like the super sweetheart. I was like I was the guy that all the girls would always be like, "Oh my God, you're so sweet!" Like, like they rooted for me. Like I was like the puppy dog who like I didn't have any killer instinct. I was just like the consummate nice guy. I was voted my senior year in high school. People make fun of me about this, but they do the superlatives like most succeed. My superlative was most dependable.
Oh,
like that's how that's who I was at the time. I was like the very dependable person, which I tell people that now, and they're like, "You're most dependable." Like
but like most likely not to be late. Like,
yeah, I was like
always the earliest.
I never missed class. I was always early. I never did anything. I was like literally that. Yeah, man. And and then in early college, I started to see like other guys. And I was like, I started going out a little bit. Like my buddies, like, let's go out. Like my freshman year, I didn't drink. I didn't have any friends on the team. I was just like, go to college in Boca, go back home on the weekends to Miami, hang out with my like high school dorky friends. And then my sophomore years when I started a little bit of a step in that direction where I had buddies who would like, I would go out to bars with. I had one guy, an older guy who gave me like a fake ID. And I started to like go into a bar and then see like, I had no skills. And the only thing I would do is I would just sit there and I learned to like drink a little bit. And then at the end of the night, I noticed that when the lights came on, some girls had been drinking a lot and I like could talk to them more freely. I was like, wow, they're like talking to me. And I'm like, I would have like small little interactions as the bar closed. Like, and I'm like, wow, okay. I was like, in my head, I'm like, so I started going to bars just for the end of the night. Cause like when girls are leaving, I'm like, well,
this makes sense. This part, I could see a lot from you.
I'm like, at the end of the night, they all seem to be like drunk and just super friendly. They don't care. No one's judging me, right? That was like the kind of the perspective I had. And then this whole thing happened, and I started like every year I got more and more social throughout college. Like,
is there one? Because for me, I mean, we'll talk about this in a future episode. My whole thing, but I vividly remember my first like I'm going to walk up and approach that girl and try to make something happen.
Me too.
Is there one approach of you, like that very first one, where you're like, all right, I'm going to go up to that girl and I'm going to pick her up or make shit happen? Like, or is it just a blend of...
There's a couple stories I could think of. Let's see which one I want to, what do I want to go with
First one,
here?
what is the first memory you have of like, I'm going to give this my all and really try to get this girl?
All right, I'll tell you one in high school that was a great failure. But it was the first big failure that I tried something.
Okay.
I was, I don't know, maybe 17, 16. And I went to Johnny Rockets. So one of these nights at Sunset Place where we're going there, we're walking around. We just would walk for 3.5 hours with no real purpose. Thinking like maybe we're going to just like bump in. I don't know what our plan, we had no plan. I don't know what we were doing. And then we'd always end up like they had a Johnny Rockets at Sunset Place. And that we were just like, it was like our debrief of failure because we had no success. And literally we're just like, oh, another night of no success. And then, not that we had a plan, and I'll never forget. So this waitress comes up and I thought she was like flirting with me. And I'm just like, I didn't know what flirting was. I didn't know what like hitting on me was, but like, I'm like, she's giving me something. Something's happening here, but I have no plan. So I'm like, fuck. And I'm like, dude, is she hitting on me? Like,
I know this story.
You know this story?
I have the cell phone.
And then I'm racking my brain because I know nothing. And then I go, okay, I think I have an idea. So I tell my buddies, I go, here's what I'm going to do. When she brings over the bill, I'm going to leave my phone at the table. Now, it wasn't my phone. It was my grandmother's. Remember Kosmo, remember the old Nokia bricks?
Yeah.
That you play Snake on them? It was like the small navy blue. And on the back of the phone, it literally, my grandmother had put the phone number like on a white like thing with tape on it. And like it said like the phone number of the phone. That's how like old it was. It was like 2001, 2002. And so I'm like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave the phone at the table. And then I'm going to come back and be like, hey, I left my phone here. And that'll be a good way to be like, can I get your phone number? Like to me, I'm like, phone number.
It makes sense. No,
Right?
I mean, I can see it.
That's like, it's a justification, right?
Yeah.
Created a justification.
Reason why.
Yeah. So we pay the bill. I leave the phone at the table. We go outside. My boys give me like a quick pep talk. They're like, dude, you're going to go back in there. Just get her number. You're going to crush it. and I like summon up all my courage. I'm like, oh, all right, let's do this. And I literally like walk back in. This is like literally like 2 minutes later. 2 minutes have passed. And I'm like, hey, I was just here. And I'm like, I was just here and I left my phone at the table. Do you see it? And the guy just walks by. He's like, no, there's no phone here. And I'm like, no. I was just here like a moment ago. There was a phone here, and like we started asking around, no one's seen the phone. I went in to get a phone number, and somebody stole my grandmother's cell phone. So not only did I not get a number, but I lost my grandma's phone. I had to explain to her how I lost the phone. I went to get a number. I lost all of them.
Were you honest with her? It was like you're like, abuela, I was trying to get a girl's number and I lost your phone.
I don't even know what I said to her. I don't know if I might have been too embarrassed to say that, but I literally was just like, I'm so sorry I lost your phone.
I have a big question for you. Did you ever talk to your family when you were young, letting them know, hey, I have a problem talking to women? Were you?
No
right?
chance at all.
Yeah, because
no shot at all.
Yeah.
Dude, my culture was weird. Like my grandfather, who's the best human being of all time, like he and I, like, dude, his thing was like, man, I guess it's 20 years ago and he's 92 years old. So I don't think you guys can be mad about this, but like, he was like, I don't say worried about me, but he was always like, he was upset that I was hanging out with my two friends, John and Andy, so much where he was just like, dude, are they gay? Like, what's going on? What are you guys doing? Like, he didn't like my friend Andy because he thought he was gay and like was trying to turn me gay.
Were they ever concerned for you? Like, why are you, there's no women? Why is Albert not on dates?
Yeah. Like that was like a big, man, fuck, man. I remember like it was yesterday. I remember all like these, and I never thought about like that, Kosmo, like that's my trauma. Like I had all these different moments of trauma. I remember in middle school in 5th grade when like I'd go to a dance and they would play like a slow song and everyone would like link up for a slow song. And I just remember like looking around, having like no one to dance with in the slow song and like literally hearing the music in my head.
Were you good at hiding it? Or
No.
it doesn't seem like you were. You see, but I was.
No.
But that was worse for me because I was good at hiding it. So no one thought that I had a problem. You weren't good at hiding it. People were like, this guy has no game. They were aware of it. Like people were aware of it.
It was a joke that amongst my friends, the fact that I had no game was a butt of a joke.
Calling an Albert.
Have you ever got this before? And I'm sorry if I am going to insult you right now.
No insults at all.
Your outside doesn't match your inside. Like if I was to film you and it would be live and 5 million people can watch you without saying one word, you don't look as intelligent as you are. You look
yeah.
like
You're a lot smarter than you look.
You look like a jock.
Yeah.
That's like the bro guy that will not indulge in deep, talk, like the kind of running back or the first base. Like you just look like a jock.
Yeah.
That's not that intellectual. And then I meet you. It's like, wow, this guy's fucking smart and somewhat of a nerd. Like really knows about a lot of really cool shit.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I actually I struggle with that all the time because that's actually, believe it or not, I've grown up and had so many things that I've conquered in my life, but that's like one of my last remaining insecurities that I really have in my life is that I know that I don't look smart. So like, dude, I'll be in an elevator in my building. It's like the weirdest thing. It's one of the weirdest things I do. And like an older like white male will get in the elevator and I will purposely say like, it'll be like, have a nice day. And I'll say likewise. And I'll try to say in a way that lets him know that like I speak English in an eloquent, clear way. Like I don't want them to look at me.
Is that why you're in this word club? Is it just like, I need to be able to talk?
No, I don't like, I feel like sometimes I get in an elevator with an old person that look at me and they'll be like threatened, like they grab, like a lady will grab her bag or something.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, excuse me, how can I like, I actually like realize that the octave of my voice has changed over the years. Like to the point where like 6 months ago, I was like, oh shit, I should like double down on the fact that I have like a deep voice. Like this is my natural voice, but I developed like this voice because I felt like it was less threatening.
Wow.
And like,
that is really fucking interesting.
And I felt like I would, and like I like kind of played around with like the tone of my voice in a way to do what you're saying, or like use big words to like immediately showcase like I'm not a box of rocks.
Because with the tonality that you have, that deep voice that you have, empowers the identity of dumb jock. Like really tall, good looking, just very good athlete.
Yeah, and a lot of what I do with, like Jared always described it, And what I developed as my cold approach skills like started taking off was like I developed this unique style that I always kind of like, he called it shy alpha, which is like I have like this big presence, but I'm also like kind of like shy and like didn't want to like, you know, seem like over the top or very aggressive. Like it was very light and like not, I wanted to create this like non-threatening energy. Because I mean, this is later in the progression. At first, I'm just like, what's a cold approach? What's a A1? How do I build it? And then, like, as I'm carving my own unique style, that's where I went with it.
So when did you really start taking off with going up in bars, meeting women? I mean, I remember you was talking about the movie Swingers.
Yeah.
So that got like that. I think got the light bulb going. And then right after, pretty quickly after, you saw the Pickup Artist show.
Yeah.
Right. So what was the progression there? Like?
Yeah, so in 2000, like I said, it's really interesting. Like I went to college for 4 years. I played baseball 4 years. I arrived to college one person, and like by the end, I was already like on the way to this Albert. Like my first year, I had no friends on my baseball team. My second year, I like started putting my like kind of getting a little bit more into it. My junior year, I actually had like a girlfriend who was like kind of a cooler girl. I mean, she opened me. Okay. She kind of initiated things with me, but I was already like, I had like some success. And then my senior year of college, I had no success with women, but I knew how to like do what Kosmo said. I knew how to like fit in with guys. I knew how to like kind of like, I could be cool. Like I wasn't like an awkward guy anymore around guys. So like if I was in a room full of, I could bro out a little bit. And then after that fourth year of college, 2007, I get out of college and I'm like, I have this bro to me, and I didn't really have a direction in life because I wanted to play pro ball and it didn't happen. So I'm just like, what do? I'm back in Miami. I was like, let me go out with my friends. And then I'm like, I saw the movie Swingers, and I was like, oh my God, Vince Vaughn in this movie is like, this is like my ideal self. He's like this cool, fast talking guy who's like, everything's like quick and like coming up with like fun stories. And then like, is like basically like, I saw like early life me was Jon Favreau in that movie. I was Mikey. I was like this hopeless romantic who like, every girl was like the end all be all for me. And then I was like, I want to be Trent. I want to be Vince Vaughn. So we like would like try to go out with no plan. Like, let's go out, let's drink. Maybe we'll like talk to a girl. No, nothing. And then like I did like almost at the exact same time, I discovered Neil Strauss's The Game, which like I didn't like. I was like, what is this world? And then I'm like, oh, there's like the attraction forums, there's the internet, and then like boom, the Pickup Artist comes on, and like all like it was like a storm. Like it was literally like fucking I was like curious about this, and then like I got this information and the show was on, and I'm like, me and my buddy John, who like used to go to Sunset Place with me, we're like every week we're like, dude, new episode of Pickup Artist. And we literally looked at it like this week they're gonna teach us some fucking insane, because every week it was like, today we're gonna cover opening and then we're gonna cover your avatar. I'm like, my avatar? This is insane. And I'm like, oh my God. And he was like, and then open, I was just like, this is insane. I was like, I would like rally the troops. I was like, we got it. We have information. We can do something now. And like my brain was always like built like that. Like I was a baseball guy. I was a strategy guy. I also started playing poker in my sophomore year of college. So I loved it. I was learning poker at the same time. And I was like, oh, this is like poker for people. Like you can have like strategy and like do this and counter that. And like, I'm like, this is so cool. So I just started falling in love with it. And then, that was like the beginning of that.
Amazing. I mean, what was, I guess, and that's around when I met you, was around 2007. So you weren't in it that long. I mean, when I met you, I was probably doing it for already like a year or so.
Yeah.
So how long into it were you going out and approaching women and working on this before you met me? And
year and a half.
So 2000, and you were in it 2006.
No, I started this like going out like with no information for like 6 months and 7, and then in early 8, I met you at like the end of 8. Like
really? I thought I met you at 7. Okay.
No, 100%. Right. And then because
that's right. Because I met Adam later on doing a social circle. So that
it was like sense. End of 8, maybe beginning of 09.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the reason I met you is because I used to, all I did was when I discovered mystery and this gentleman right here, was I would go on YouTube and I would find videos of mystery in classroom settings, like drawing shit and writing stuff on big white things. And then I would go on the attraction forums, which was like my favorite message board. And I would just like read like how to send text messages, how to do openers, banter lines, all these different, I'd make notes about it, like crazy notes. And then one day in the bottom, I saw an ad that said Miami dating coach. And I just was like, what is this? And I clicked on it. And then like it was like I saw the website, the company that you work for at the time, and then at one point I said now hiring instructors, and I looked at that. I was like, well, I don't have a job. I'm like, but I'm not good enough to do this. But I was like, let me sit on it.
Yeah, how did you feel about that? Because I know when that was my first gig as a dating coach, was back then was the Miami dating coach stuff, and I was in those forums, and I was becoming like a local like star in the Miami scene, the South Florida scene. It was called South Florida Play was the forums.
Yeah.
And I'm just writing up these reports and all this stuff that we did back then. And I was like getting a name for myself, but I just like going out. I was just winging, and whatnot. And then the guy who hired us, Dan, whose company was, he reaches out to me and is like, you should be my instructor. I want to coach. This is in '07. So this is like a year before Albert came in. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. This is before the pickup artist came out. I'm like, I'm going to be a coach. Like I've read about this. That's like mystery. I'm like that's like a legendary thing.
Right.
I'm like
you put these coaches, you're like, these guys are superheroes, right?
Superheroes. So I'm just like, what are you talking about? So I turned him down. 2 months later, I'm still posting my stuff. He reaches out again, and he's like, brother, like, come, like, be a coach, like, just audition, just come out or whatever. And I'm like, all right, I'll see what it's about. And I did this audition thing. Where I met a girl in front of him and a student, and he's like, what are you doing? I'll pay you $25 an hour to go out to bars, which you're already doing, and just take these guys out and just approach in front of them and tell them what's up.
Wow.
And here's my book, or like my methodology, which it really wasn't much.
What a dream.
Yeah. And I'm in college too. I'm like, I don't have a job. $25 an hour to go out and do what I'm already doing. What am I like? Why am I saying no to this?
Yeah.
But so I had an identity crisis with this. I'm like, there's no way I'm coach level. So like, you also felt that when?
Yeah, I mean, dude, when I discovered this, I was like all in. Like, I wasn't like, oh, this is cool. Like, I'm gonna get to this later. Like, I didn't have anything else going on in my life. I'm like the pickup artist. This is my life. I was going out 6 nights a week for a year and a half consecutively.
What was your opener? Opener meaning what you're going to walk up to a girl that you've never met before? What were you using?
I was using pure opinion openers only.
Which one?
My favorite one was...
Huh? The five.
No. Our favorite one was my buddy's getting married, and they're going to throw him a bachelorette party, and like his girlfriend doesn't want him to have a stripper at the party. Should he have a stripper or not have a stripper?
Got it.
Then we started doing the theme party. Hey, we're going to throw a party. What's cooler, 80s theme or jungle theme? Obviously, we need a female opinion on something. I get back to my friends. I was like literally like word for word for word.
Yeah.
To the point where I was just like, yeah, like this is what I'm doing. And then I discovered the Miami dating coach thing, and I'm like, I didn't think I was good enough, but I was coaching high school baseball for no money. And then I'm like, fuck it, man. Like I like emailed them or contacted. I'm just gonna apply. And then he took Dan Silverman Jester took me on as like an intern and basically trained me.
Did you meet him? I never asked you. Did you meet him first or me first?
No, I met him first.
Okay. So I was about to say, like, how else did you come to? Because I was doing a talk one day, a lecture for a local chapter, like a group there called Layers back in those days. And I don't know how I knew you, but I knew your face. I remember seeing you in a crowd. I'm thinking, oh shit, Albert's here. He might be hearing me talk about other stuff than Dan, because I was already like transitioning out and going with another dating coach, like a bigger. Like
I was blown away by Jared, by the way. When I first saw him speak, I was like, oh my God, this is the guy that works for his company. I'm like, this guy's incredible. He gave a speech on logistics, which like, I'm like going through my like thing. I'm like, I've never seen anything about logistics. I'm like, mystery, you didn't give me anything on this, man. I'm like, logistics? He's like, you got to ask what they're doing the next day. What are they doing that night? I'm like, oh my God, I never considered this. I'm just like, I literally was like, I was a machine. Like you inputted mysteries, thoughts into my brain and I spat them out. There was nothing else. My brain was not working. I was a robot but that was fine for me. I was like, why do I need a brain? Like, he gave me a brain. Who needs a brain?
Why do I need a brain?
I remember Albert in the back going like, holy shit, this is some good.
Yeah. And then, so Dan Silverman takes me on, he starts training me, and I was doing all this work for like on an intern basis, but I was like loving this because I was like, I'm getting more information of stuff I don't know. And then I remember he asked Jarrett, like, because I was like an intern for like months and like no pay.
And I'm the one training him. I'm the one.
Yeah. And eventually Jarrett was like, dude, like Dan's like, you think Albert's ready to start coaching? And Jarrett's like, he's been ready, right?
Yeah, I'm like, send him in, because he kept like, well, maybe I'm like, bro, he gets it. He's good enough. I've been in the field with him. He can do it. Because you guys don't understand something. You two, I mean, you started the wave. So there were different waves after the fourth wave, I don't know anymore. I stopped counting. But there were 4 clear waves of people who joined this community, which is now an industry. Because it really wasn't an industry back then. It was called the community. Yeah. You remember, like...
Of course. I still think of it as a community. I just try not to say it works. I know you don't like the old words.
No, it's an industry. There's no more community. It's the industry now. Modern flirting is a community, but the whole thing is an industry, which is sad because I remember anyways, I'm going to get emotional if I go down that route. But the first wave was people had to be in so much pain and they had to be so desperate. They went online. This is before Google.
Wow.
They had to find these forums online where guys were sharing tips. So this is 2001.
Wow.
All right. Early 2001.
That's way before me. Yeah.
This was the first wave, right? And this is where Mystery came in. He was first wave. All the jugglers.
Your show was 08, right?
Oh wait, yeah.
Yeah, 08. So 2001 was first wave.
But who was before Mystery?
Ross Jeffries. The only one before that is technically Ross Jeffries, and then he was around in the 90s. But he was just
that guy's fucking creepy.
Yeah, he's a weird one.
Ross Jeffries.
He's exactly the way Neil described him in the book. I met him in San Diego. He was in my business mastermind. The way I met Ross had nothing to do with this industry. I met him through my business. He had the same business mentor as me. He still does. My first business mentor is his current one, and I met him in that whole environment. Bro, he sniffed a girl's chair. He pulled on his ear. Everything from the book, The Game, Ross did. I'm like, are you trolling yourself? Is this like you're literally doing everything Neil made fun of you in the book, and you're doing it in front of me? I'm like, this can't be real.
I remember when I discovered him, I'm like, this guy before, I want to see what he's about. And I liked the NLP stuff that he was pushing at the time. It was
interesting.
I was like, this is super cool, but
he is afraid of what we do. Yeah, he's literally afraid. Mad respect, The Godfather. He started this movement. Now, he probably started the first online forum, whatever, So mad respect there, but yeah, it's creepy as fuck. So 2001, I define around there is the first wave. You had to be a really, really desperate, and you had to search for this shit to find a group of guys online trading notes, and the internet birthed this, right? Then enter wave 2. I'm wave 2. This is from 2004 to 2008, because in 2004 the game came out, the book came out. I think you're wave 2 also. You got this. Brent got it from the game. But how did you find? You read it. You found it from the game, right? So you're like me. So Brent, we are.
So to give you guys an idea of my, I don't know if I ever told you about this. So everyone's they know when I started, and they all assume dude, you and I were talking about yesterday. You're like, how have you never seen Curb Your Enthusiasm? Have you never seen this? Dude, I was so poor in my early days of pickup. I didn't read the game because I couldn't afford to buy the book. So what I would do is I'd go to Barnes and Nobles for a pocket of time and read a little bit. And then I was embarrassed of getting caught sitting there reading a full book. So I'd read for 20 minutes and put it back and think, all right, I'll be back in a few days.
Oh my.
That was how I consumed the game. I never even actually read the entire, but I'll be my time's limited. Let me jump to what looks like this isn't. I'll go through it to be this looks like it's a diagram. Let me remember this diagram.
You saw that from the show because so Brandon and I, and guys like us, we were just normal enough to be there's a shiny book that's peacocked out and see this book, but we're still nerds. You still only learn about it if you're in the self-help section, and we're still all nerdy. So we kind of meshed with the first wave people.
Yeah.
But we were okay, it became more popular and they were weirded about us. But then when your show came out, and this is wave 3, around 2008 era.
2008, yeah.
2008, there were no Cubans in our group, pre the third wave. There were no guys who played. I remember the show comes out, all of a sudden we've got a baseball player. I remember a fucking club promoter joined the group. We're we got a club promoter. What is going on? It was imagine if you're the cool kid in the chess team. And then all of a sudden, the club promoters joining the chess team, and the jocks are doing the chess team. You're
what are you doing here?
This is all God, what is happening? You're in the wrong place. We are not. They're you guys are the cool pickup artist guys, right? We're bro,
Isn't that funny, Kosmo? We thought they were the cool guys, and they thought we were the cool guys.
So you guys started coming in. I remember a fucking DJ, and he became one of my best friends.
Oh yeah, that's
Elevate.
Yeah, Elevate.
Yeah, Danny. So he comes in, he's a DJ. I'm you're a DJ in clubs. He's yeah, but you can always get better, and I want to go out with you. I'm bro, I'm the most advanced guy in here. You just joined. I'm your new best friend. Yeah. I will take you out whenever you want. Holy shit. These guys suck. Let's do it. And then there's the fourth wave, and arguably the wave that kind of ruined it and turned into an industry. And that's around 2011, 2012. And that was the YouTube wave. the YouTube of
Simple pickup guys.
Simple pickup RSD really got big, and these are the wave where everybody's like, "Fuck tactics, we're just going to be silly and goofballs, and we're gonna like," and everybody's got their own channel and and became more marketing, and then after that I stopped counting. Like that just kind of ruined it because now like everyone and their son and everybody was kind of like coming in, and it was just a hot. Then there were people. And then I guess the fifth wave would be PUA hate. If you remember that, where like all of a sudden people are coming in that are not even about this anymore. They're coming in to be bitter and hate it. Right. And that's where, and when PUAhate.com was a website, it got shut down. Then all of a sudden they had to go other places. It became the incels, which are involuntary celibates, people who are just like, I can never get laid. Doesn't matter what I do. Like we all attack it from like you said, statistics. Yeah. And that's the strategy. Right. They're like, there's no strategy, can't do it. I'm involuntary celibate. MGTOWs, men going their own way. These are guys who are like, maybe I could crack it, but fuck it. I'm not going to do it. I don't want women. I'm out. And then the red pill wave came, and we're just like, it's not about games so much as it's just about being good looking and making money and status and da-da-da. And after that, I'm just like, this is going a weird direction now. Like I couldn't, did you notice, because both of you came in when it was still a community. Did you feel that at all for both of you, when you guys came in, that like, this is a global community or like an underground-ish thing? Yeah, we had the show. And you're probably famous. You probably didn't get that too much because it's hard for you to be underground. Yeah. But did you at least get the experience that at all?
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny, man. I was so front loaded with excitement and wanting it and investment, like me investing into it. And then I like kind of took off around. So to kind of backtrack a little bit, I don't think I really got good or very good until I started coaching. I think coaching itself made my game so much better.
You're welcome.
Yeah. No, seriously, like I think there's something about like I look at this and I try to do it, or then I watch somebody and then I think it's just because of my observant nature. So when I saw somebody else doing things, I'm like, no, do this. Then it really cemented the internalization of cues in my head of like, oh wait, do this, do that, as opposed to thinking about fear and and then I just, sorry, I know I didn't answer your question, but like, did I feel like it was a community? Yeah. No, I felt like it was a community, man. And I did. And I loved it. And I felt like every time I had a big breakthrough, I was like, dude, this is unbelievable. Like every big breakthrough felt unfucking believable. And it like took me a while, but like, I always point to like specific moments that I can remember and I'm a bad memory guy, but like there's specific moments I remember being at specific venues and like a flip went off. Like I remember my biggest fear early on was like I had a huge fear of rejection, like massive, because of the story from like my childhood. And I remember
fucking flower.
I remember being.
You gotta find that girl.
You gotta find that girl, and we're gonna give her that damn flower, and she's gonna appreciate it this time.
Dude, I remember being at America's Backyard in Fort Lauderdale sometime around 2008, 9.
You were there when it opened.
I was there when it very first opened. Yeah. We used to do boot camps there, and I never forget one time. Every time, so I had a very. This is me. If I went up and I had an interaction and I opened a set and it hooked, I felt very good.
What?
Yeah, that's what we used to call it. I engaged a group of strangers and got involved in it, and it went well. I had a really great feeling. And then if I went out and it went sarging, as we used to call it, which is like approaching, and then I got rejected, I got blown out. It's named after his dog. We get it. This isn't a historian. And then I got blown out. I felt shitty. I was like, fuck, I suck, or I'm not good enough, or she didn't like me, or I played bad. And then one of my big fucking, like where my needle went like this and I fucking took off was when first time I went to, and it's funny because we had a previous episode about this, but the first time I went to America's Backyard and I got blown out harshly. And instead of me thinking like I suck, I was like, what's wrong with this girl? Like, does she get it? Like, I'm pretty fucking cool, man. Like, she should want to talk to me. What an idiot she is.
What a mindset shift.
Right,
yeah,
what a great feeling.
I was like, she's silly. Like, she missed a chance to hang out with me tonight. I'm fucking fun. And it picked me up. So when getting blown out raised my state, that was one of the biggest jumps.
Tell Kosmo, tell the viewers about the Blue Martini night. That's the moment where I always knew Albert was good, but like that's the moment where I like respect him the most. And I realized like, no, he's one of the greats because we were feeding off each other that Blue Martini Do you want to tell the story?
You could start it. Like, go. Yeah.
So
we wrecked the room, right?
it was awful. So I'm a big proponent, and I want to know your thoughts on this, Cosmo, where like, look, anybody can go out one night and just suck. I'm sorry, like as good as any of us are, each one of us will always have a night where it doesn't matter what happens, we just suck and we can't make anything work.
Absolutely.
And then anyone who sucks can have one lucky night where they just run really good and they seem amazing or whatever, kind of like poker. You can just have bad hands, whatever. It's about consistency. It's about a lot of things, right? So my biggest indicator to see if a guy's really good is how he, not on him on a good night, but his mentality and how he handles a bad night, his rejections, and when a night doesn't go his way. And I remember, we were going out like every single night, like 6 nights a week or whatever, going out with Albert. And Wednesday was Blue Martini night, and I don't know. I do know why actually. We always went to the one in Fort Lauderdale, and we're like, there's a Blue Martini opened up in Boca, and we're like those hot blonde Boca girls, and it just opened. We gotta try this, right? So we're excited, we're cocky, we are young, we're just like, we're gonna dominate, we're gonna own this place.
At this point, were you guys wearing eyeliner and peacocking?
Thank God beyond that.
And doing all that?
No, you were doing shit. Jared had a blue streak in his hair.
I had a blue streak. I was wearing
would wear
eyeliner.
like a fedora or like an interesting hat. Or
I had
like
a blue streak. I'll admit that.
Oh yeah, we tried shit. Yeah.
I had a blue streak, but I might wear like a rocker wristband, but like you never saw me peacock hard.
I did see you all the way back.
I had the New Rock boots. I had LED belt buckle. I had the eyeliner. I would wear boa. I gotta find the pictures. I will find you pictures.
Please do.
Yeah, I gotta find a picture of this. This is 2006. 2007. This is right before I met Albert. Like thank God for Adam, one of my mentors. He was like, "You got to stop that shit." I'm like, "Okay," like, whatever you say, Adam. So we're cocky at this point. We go to Blue Martini, and I'm like, "You want to start, bro? You want me to start?" Anyway, it doesn't really matter. We're
already coaches at this point, right? So we have some confidence, right?
Yeah, we're literally coaching.
We have a little bit of confidence, not a lot, but it's good.
I was cocky. This was like not me my best, but this was like right before I became my best.
Kosmo, this is tell me if this resonates with you. I wasn't confident in myself. I was confident in what mystery had given me that I had in my pocket. I felt like I had weapons. I wasn't like I'm great, but I was like, but I have all this shit that they're not ready for. I had a bag of tricks. Does that make sense? Cocky. That's what I was confident.
I was just still like studying right under Adam at that time, and I'm like, I got the bag of tricks, that he's on about. And I know all this new like next level shit. Like you can't stop me.
Yeah.
I was, but looking back, I really wasn't that established. I feel like when I cracked social circles.
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, all right, now.
Did you ever feel like that? Sorry, does it ever feel like it was like you?
100%. It was not me. It was my bag of tricks.
Yeah.
And I felt like I knew a secret that no one knew, and that I can get away with it.
When the fame added.
When the fame came, it was a whole different thing. So about the 2 months when nobody knew who I was, I felt like Albert, that I had a secret and I can talk to any girl, but it wasn't me that was good. It was that.
No, yeah, I wasn't talking to the girls. I was just sitting there like, oh, that's what you said? Oh, that's what said.
Me too.
Oh, that's what you said? Here.
It was, I don't know if I've ever told you this. I'll get to the Blue Martini story, but early on, pre-meeting Albert, I think I've told you this. I counted like how long it took once. I had a 10-hour routine stack.
Jesus.
I had 10 hours of stories.
Is that why you do 48-hour dates? You're like,
dude, that's exactly it.
I can keep going, man. I can keep going. Like literally, I calculate like between the cube and the strawberry field.
So a routine stack is basically like when a guy knows exactly what to say next. A, B, C, D. So whatever the girl says, the guy has exactly the next step.
And it was like a stand-up comic with 10 hours of routine material. Like it's just nonstop, like this story, this routine, this interaction. If it goes here, hit her with the whatever. Now my qualifier question, vulnerability story. All right, now
vulnerability story.
Bro, like everything was scripted all the way to the bedroom. Like early on. I can't even. I've forgotten more.
You're like a ladder of attraction.
That's no, but like I can't even remember those. I literally couldn't. I remember like 5 things from it now, but every single thing was planned, and so I vividly remember this. I'm in the Delano, like going up to girls, just going out and going through the stack. And because they said this fucking thing so many times, it was like a stand-up comic saying the same shit so many times. I vividly remember being 2 hours into this interaction with this girl. I'm talking, but mentally, I was like, oh my God, did I do my laundry? I have to go back home tomorrow. Blah, blah. I'm not even there. I'm just autopilot.
You're so detached.
I'm so autopilot.
That's the worst.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Because this conversation I had with her, she doesn't know. She's lighting up. I'm like, I've had this exact same conversation 10 times tonight, or maybe not 10 tonight, but like 50 times, again and again and again and again. And it just blended together. Yeah. No girl felt... It was all the same shit.
That's the worst, man.
And piggybacking off of what you're saying, how the fuck do you think women feel when the guys come up, say the same thing over and over and over
Check out.
and over and over? Hey, what is your name? Rebecca. Where are you from? California. Oh, nice. What are you doing out here? I'm going to go meet my friend. Okay, have a nice day. She's walking. Hey, how are you? What's your name? It's over and over and over. So what happens with women? They start to feel what? Detached.
Yeah. I was checked out.
That's literally, some of the girls when we went out last night. That's it. Yeah. It's I know exactly what Kosmo's going to say right now. Detachment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Blue Martini.
Anyway, so we're cocky. I got my 10 over 10. No, I think by that point I was like, all right, I got to be more. I was more natural than that. Thank God, I was like a machine. And I go into my first approach. I'm like, Albert, hold on, I got this. Watch this shit. I go up and I start. I don't know whatever opener I was doing at the time. And she's like, nice try. I gotta go find my friends. I'm like, whatever. That's a fluke. Albert, hit him.
Yeah.
Albert's like, all right, put me in. Bomb. And I'm like, what? I looked at Albert like, what just happened? All right, we go, cobwebs, shaking up the cobwebs. I go to the next one, boom, bomb. Not even, we can't even pretend it wasn't rejection. Yeah. It was just obvious, go away. And then Albert's like, I'm going to try. And then it's just get the fuck out of here. And then we both have this look, and then something comes over us, and I'm like, I'm getting I'm getting amped. I'm not getting turned down. I'm looking at Albert, and he's feeling it too. I can see his eyes. I'm like, did we just get rejected? No, fuck. Give me another one. Line up again.
Yeah.
Bomb. He goes bomb. I go bomb. He goes bomb.
It was a war zone out there, man. It was bad.
You would have thought we were having the best fucking night of our life. We were amping up. We're like, you want to go?
I love that.
It became us versus Blue Martini.
Yeah.
I think we got rejected 19 times.
It was us against the world. We're we're not going down without a fight. We're going down swinging. I'm like, we are going down swinging.
And we got every rejection. We got more animated. More.
I'm like, not you. Okay, go behind you. You? No.
What? God. We're ripped off the shirt. Let's go. We ain't going down like that. And I remember this. And this is when I fell in love with Albert. Or I'm like, he's one of the greats. This is my new wingman. Because as soon as the night ended, we got nothing. We didn't get a number, and we didn't get a makeout. We got nothing. We didn't even get I think one girl was like, I won't spit on you. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
And at the end of the night, both of us looked at each other. We're like, we got to come back here next week.
Yes.
We are coming back here.
What a powerful mindset.
We are coming back for more, because fuck that. We are not going
that was our new okay, we're a football team. We just got blown out 49-0. We're like, next year we play those guys, we're gonna stick it to them.
Because now we're finally challenged. We were too easy. We were from this is insane. We're like, if we get this, imagine how good our game's gonna be if we can fit. Right. It was and
I think that's so important, man, is any guy that's watching this who feels like you don't have success or results or whatever, it's dude, there's two ways you can spin it in your head, right? You can spin it what I did my whole life prior to that, which was dude, I feel shitty, go in my little shell, hide, or use it as motivation to be I'm coming to get you.
I have a talk on this called the lion or the wimp. Right. One of these voices is going to overcome when you get rejected, and the wimp is pie go, and the lion is what we felt, which is let's fucking.
It's fight or flight, dude. It's fight. We're fighting right now, and that was one of my biggest breakthroughs, and that helped me really grow. And then you discover more things about yourself, and then it's funny to I haven't really talked about this in a long time, but to think about how I grew and progressed through this process. It's just it's insane because we had a previous episode where we talked about on this program on like why I don't deal with like bad attitudes early. It's because because in 2009 I ate the shit in Blue Martini. So in 2022 I'm that motherfucker. Like you got to come to me. But like it's different. It's like I think it's like you got to like earn it, bro. You got to earn it and you got to work for it and put in the time. And I'm lucky
on the earn it thing. Do you know this? The first year, 2006 to like end of 2007, I never drank when I went out.
Yeah.
I had to be stone cold sober. I refuse. Even if a girl's like, I gotta buy you a drink, I'm like, I would like sneakily like pour it out.
Wow.
Because I was like, I had to learn this, and you can't learn if you're drinking. And so I was just like, that was it. And then of course Albert comes in. I'm like, I guess we're getting drunk. Let's do it.
Yeah,
like he was that. You know how you went around the jock guys in baseball and you started like learn. You were my like jock guy friend.
Right.
I'm like, I guess drinking's cool.
I guess it was your first like kind of guy who was in sports friend. You're right.
It was you and Elevate, Danny.
Elevate, yeah.
You had the two of you. I'm like, you guys drink when you go out? Okay, fuck it. Yeah, I'll be one of the cool guys. Like, but I never drank when I went out. It was like, and I thought that was cool as fuck. And honestly, I'm going back. I'm doing a sobriety challenge right now. Like, I'm done drinking until at least New Year's in Tulum. And I think.
Well, you said for your birthday.
I'll make one exception for my birthday, but I think there's something really to that. Did you drink? Like, did you drink when you were learning this or going out, or no?
Half and half. But I did. I was never sober all the time. Never.
I think there was something. I'm so glad I did that, and I think people watching it, because it's so easy to go out. And I mean, like me last night. Honestly, I got too drunk, way too drunk. I think there's something to that where guys have my mentality now, where it's like, fuck. But don't get me wrong. I had so much fun last night. But my game was trash, honestly, because I got crazy drunk.
Can I tell you one thing that would happen though? Like because of the drinking and my like newness is like, and I'm sure you guys, I know you did, and we'll get into it on your origin story episode.
Sure.
But there was times where I would say things that were what you're supposed to say, but I didn't understand application. So like one of the first things Mystery always taught was like, you walk in, you say, I got to get back to my friends in a minute. Well, then like sometimes I would have a continuity error where I would come into a girl and they say, I'm having a drink or whatever. And I would just be like, yeah, I got to get back to my friends in a minute. And then she'd be like, where are your friends? Like 10 minutes later, she'd be like, okay, so where are your friends that you're talking about? And I'd be like, oh shit. I'm like the only person I know is standing directly to the right of me, and I have no improvisational skills because
You could just point and be like, they're over there.
That's improvisation. I didn't have
They
that
just
gear.
left.
I don't have that gear.
Oh, wow.
That you're projecting the old gear, and like that shit would happen to me all the time. Or I'd run an opener. My first probably 6 months that I went out going out, I would talk about an opener, and I would just sit there deconstructing the idea of what the opener is about. So I'd be like, but what if the stripper is from this thing? Like I just have that one subject matter because I didn't know how to transition. And it's just so funny, dude, looking back at like everything. And like, I do want to say like, I'm unbelievably grateful that I found this because I don't know. I have no idea. I wonder, I don't know if you guys ever think about it. I wonder what my life would be if I didn't have it. Like I'd be such like a completely different human being. Like it's hard for me. I'm glad I have my friends, my buddy John and Andy, because like when people don't believe what I came from, I always can be like, ask them. Don't ask me, ask them. And they will tell you in grave detail what I used to be like. And I still, even now and then when I run to people, they just like, people that knew me for a long time, like they can't believe what I am now. And I sometimes see people look at me that knew me from back then. If I haven't seen them in many years and then they see me, I can see them being like, what happened with him? Like that kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'm just so super grateful, man, that like, because I feel like, I got into this for one reason. It became very, very different. And I just, man, my whole life, dude.
But how does it feel? You're passing toward, like, just like Kosmo got you into it. There might be a guy watching this on YouTube right now, on a podcast right now, hearing your story, and is like, damn, this Albert guy made it. I want to make it. Like right now, there's a new Albert there listening. Like, what advice do you have for him?
I would say, man, just stay the course, fight, learn. I was very lucky too, Jarrett. I think you always looked at it like, Albert, you're lucky that you're like tall, handsome, and like whatever, like athletes. But I think I was lucky that a lot of my interests in life align well, right? Like I played poker, which is what poker taught me is process over outcome. Yeah. In poker, like you can do the right thing and lose a hand. That's the same thing in in a cold approach pickup, right? I can do
100%.
everything perfectly, and just because she didn't like me doesn't mean I did the wrong process, right? Same thing in baseball.
Yep.
In baseball, you can hit a ball perfectly and it's an out. But you can't be like, oh, I messed up. It's like, no. The best hitters in baseball fail 7 out of 10 times, right? So I played baseball, which is a sport dictated in failure. I learned poker, which is a strategy game with human elements. And then all of those things, I was an English guy who was very... I didn't have the balls to talk to girls, but I knew a shit ton of words. So then when I learned improvisation, my brain could think of certain words to say and how to structure them, right? That's so like all of my interests in life came together and like worked to like interwove to like make me what I am. And I was like, all right, let me take this aspect from poker. Let me take this aspect from baseball. And then that's how I built my like what I am now.
Amazing. Well, all right, man. I mean, that is one hell of an origin story. If you guys appreciated that at home, give Albert more than anybody, 5 stars, like on iTunes. Leave a comment if you're new to this. I really want to see if you're new. Leave a comment. Let us know you knew what struggles you're going through. Maybe we can help you out with that. We'll check those. And if you've been at it for a while, let us know what got you good. What was a big motivator for you? I would love to hear your guys' stories in the comments on YouTube. And as always, we appreciate you for listening. Thank you so much.
Much love.